Welcome to Gun News and Reviews. Today we're going to take a look at a Browning high-power clone, the Springfield SA 35. This is a gun that I've been waiting to shoot for about a year. There were some issues with the first batch or so that came out with failure to extract, which apparently came down to not deburring and properly finishing the channel that the extractor travels in. You can see where that might cause some problems. It would get dirty somewhere around 800 rounds or so. I'm not there yet, so we'll have to keep you posted. But this is a newer serial model, and apparently somewhere around the 7,000 number, they began to improve what they did. So glad they were listening to their customers. Now, I've got a Belgian 9mm high power. It's from 1976, and as you can see, it's got one of those nice old school deep blue finishes on it. That is my preference for a firearm like this, but Springfield does not offer that. And as you can see, when you do get into that situation, especially if you use it and carry it a lot, it will scratch. The sights on this thing were GI. They were next to non-existent, and that really was my biggest complaint about this firearm, was how hard it was to get a sight picture. Like I said, GI sights. It wasn't meant for target shooting. But you can see that these were beautiful firearms. They go back to 1935 as the P35. Many countries have used them and continue to use them today. These had a 13-round capacity. Now, as you can see, the matte blue finish on the Springfield, it's not as showcasey, if you will, but it does have a much better safety and a much better sight system. So you do have the opportunity with this to shoot it a lot more accurately than, say, an old P35. Again, kind of a GI sight mentality. And same goes for the fit and finish of this firearm, pretty much. I mean, it's not meant to be shiny. The point is, does it work? You can see it's got a ring-style hammer, and along with a slightly extended beaver tail, does eliminate the hammer bite that you get on the older spur hammer models, and I can vouch for that. And I've got big, meaty hands, so good job there. Another thing they did, along with getting rid of that magazine disconnect, they did slightly flare the mag well. You can see that you're still going to bang it up a little bit. That's just the nature of the design of these magazines and the gun. But that's the way it goes. QC-wise, this came out of the factory looking like that, where they drifted in that rear sight. Not very impressive. That should not have left the factory like that. I can do that kind of marking up on my own. But overall, pretty decent fit and finish. Again, we're talking about old school. You've got a C-style trigger. If you've been shooting Glocks a lot like I do, takes a little bit of getting used to, but you can. The safety I mentioned is improved. In the past, it was just so hard to engage the thing. And now it's a lot easier to do. They built in what was an old school fix on people replacing the safeties on those guns. From a shooting standpoint, no complaints whatsoever. It shoots as accurately as I can. Of course, I'm always wanting to do stuff like mag dumps and rapid fire, because that's how I would shoot one of these in a self-defense situation, and this works fine. 250 rounds, no failures to feed or extract of any kind. Again, we're going to have to see how this holds up when we get up around the 1,000-round mark, because that's where they were having problems before. So overall, especially at the price point at right about $700, I'd say I'm impressed with this. Although there's some things about it that I'd change. One of them would be this style of grip. I mean, you can see after one trip to the range, it's already got itself kind of chipped up, and there's not much you can do about that. My opinion, these grips were not very well finished. They probably could have used another coat or two of varnish, and I suspect I'll be replacing them at some point. Outside of that, it feels like a Browning high power in hand. It's a feeling I love. It's got sights that make it easier to shoot, and I'm going to look forward to telling you how this does with round count. Want to appreciate you watching today. This is Gun News and Reviews. Please like and subscribe.